This is the Realize Your Wealth podcast by Aretec Wealth. We want you to be wealthy. We want you to feel wealthy. We want you to realize your wealth. All right, this is the Realize Your Wealth podcast. This is the end of something old. This is the start of something new. We've upgraded, we've enhanced, we've stepped up just about everything in terms of the quality of our podcast, the quality of our videos, really the quality of our whole business here in this new world. Welcome to Aretec Wealth. This is the future of wealth management. I'm here with my partner, my colleague, Greg Wise. We're very excited to get into the Realize Your Wealth podcast today. We're here actually at the new Aretec offices. We're at 1128 Yonge Street, beautiful offices in Midtown. We've created our own little studio here in the boardroom, which is nice as well, but really looking forward to getting things today and telling our story and really communicating it to you through this through our videos, through our podcast, and diving into things today. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, this is a new chapter for us. It's the 2.0 version of our business. As you said, we're upgrading everything, our podcast included. We're no longer opening up our laptops in the morning and going things that way. We're here. We have the studio. We have the crew. We're excited to get into things.
Oh yeah, and this is big to me. This just speaks to the future of wealth management, is to be able to do this, to communicate to our clients, to our investors this way. There's a ton of value in that. We want to be the ones out there giving you the message about what's happening out there in the world, what's happening out there in the markets, what's going on in the economy, what's happening with your portfolio. And there's no better way to do that than through video, through this medium here. So very excited. And you'll see as we dive into this, there's all sorts of upgrades, improvements, enhancements that we've made. And a lot of things have stayed the same. Greg and I are still here. The team is here. We'll talk a little bit about that today. What's staying the same, what's different, but sure, there's upgrades and improvements, and that's something that happens in life. But lots of things we feel from our old business, our old world. We've taken the best of that along with us, and we've brought that to Aretec, and we've just about upgraded, enhanced, improved everything we can where it makes sense for our investors.
Yeah, so we're excited to get into things, and we've been having a lot of individual conversations with individual investors talking about why we made this move, what those improvements are, what the enhancements are. So before we get into the specifics, maybe just talk high level about why this is an improvement and why we made the move to independence.
Look, I mean, I wouldn't have done this and we wouldn't have done this, quite frankly, if I didn't believe with every fiber of my being that it was, first and foremost in the best interest of, investors and clients and your money and your wealth and your portfolio. So that's, first and foremost to me, the most important thing, that it's in the best interest of our clients, our investors as fiduciaries. So, that's going to be a big one. Our team has joined us as well, and that's huge as well. We had a large team, and we still do, and they've joined us in this new world, which is super exciting, and it's something that has to be an improvement for our team, our partners, our advisors, just about everybody involved. And lastly, look, there are some personal reasons. I've had the pleasure, which we'll get into that more in later episodes. But my wife, Keely, she's worked in the business for 17 years. She's joined and partnered up with us in this. So, we've created a family business. This is something I'm going to be doing for probably at least the next 25 years. So I have a very, very long-term horizon on this. And, it's something that I feel I can build something that's very, very good for our investors, our clients, our team, and our family. So I think it's a win-win-win across the board. But it is a change, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. We've tried as best we can to keep a lot of things the same and change as little as possible. And where it's made sense to make these upgrades and enhancements, that's what we've looked to do, because it's really not a lateral move, is something we've explained to a lot of investors. I mean, we could have easily gone to another large financial institution and taken a huge paycheck that, basically would have been, us selling out, taking a payday, and talking to clients and saying, oh, we made this move because we think, this place is better than that place. This is certainly not the case with Aretec Wealth. We've invested a huge amount of our own personal money. There's no payday in this to get this up and running. We are completely committed. We're all in on this business and taking it to the next level. And where it's at now, I mean, it's really not even a startup at this point, just in terms of the investor response and how successful we've been. It's already up and running and probably bigger than most wealth management practices out there in Canada.
Yeah, so you mentioned that we brought over our team, but we've also improved and enhanced our team with the addition of your wife, Keely, which I know we'll get to, but she's a huge piece that we're excited to have on board.
Oh yeah, she's a superstar. She's the mother of my 4 children, our 4 children, and we've joked that this business is her fifth baby. So she spent the last while helping establish this. She's running the business side. She's the chief executive officer, chief compliance officer. She's the portfolio manager. We're joking. We're just here working for her.
She's
right?
The boss.
She's the boss, exactly. So, she's the boss at home. She's the boss at the office. But Keely's a great, addition, an awesome addition to the team. One, I think the dimensions that she adds is she works and always has. Like, she worked, in the business as a portfolio manager on a large team for 17 years, and she's really focused on women and money, female investors. It's a new dimension to our team and our group. I've joked, the conversations we've had. We've brought in, Keely on with a lot of our clients and a lot of our investors, and next thing you know, she's set up in a text message and group conversation with the clients, and I'm not even part of it. So she's a lot friendlier than I am as well. So she's a great wealth advisor, a great portfolio manager, a great relationship person, and so that's one of the things that's new, but that's a major upgrade for our business and for Aretec.
She compliments us. She compliments Will. She compliments the team. So it's a nice addition there. So with this move, Will, so more practically, like, what's in it for, like, the investor, the client? Like, what can they kind of expect from their perspective?
I mean, look, that's a big question, and it's probably takes a detailed answer. And maybe we can talk broad strokes, but to that point, we wouldn't have done this if we didn't feel that this was in the best interest of clients and investors and your money and your wealth. And so I think one of the big ones we always start with, we've always had our 3 pillars. So we've had the investment and the portfolio pillar, sort of the wealth management and sort of wealth planning type of pillar, and then there's kind of the advisory and the relationship pillar. I think across that spectrum, all 3 of them have been upgraded. I mean, I think the biggest thing, our portfolios in a new world that we're in as independent advisors, as independent portfolio managers, we're able to upgrade, improve the portfolios, the investments across the board. Whether that means enhanced risk management, enhanced upside capture, or basically doing better when markets are going up. It also means a better risk return profile, meaning less downside, more upside, better bottom line results for investors. And I think that comes through really high level, better access to research that's more aligned with our philosophy, our tactical philosophy, our red light, yellow light, green light investment philosophy. That comes from better independent thinking as well that we have access to. We have more freedom and flexibility to manage the investments in a way that we feel is in the best interest of our investors and our clients, and manage, I would say, more true and authentic to our strategy. We have better access to investments as well in this world. So better research, better due diligence when it comes to things like alternative investments and things like private equity and private credit and infrastructure and real estate assets and hedge funds. So all sorts of things. But I think probably the biggest thing is we can be a lot more authentic and real with investors about what's going on out there in the world and the markets and really tell them the truth. And my philosophy, I'm certainly an optimist when it comes to financial and investment markets. I mean, we wouldn't have started a business if we weren't optimistic, but I think more accurately, I'm a realist. And 70 to 80% of the time, markets go up, markets do well. Maybe sometimes less than 80%, but let's call it 70%. But 30% of the time, they don't do so well, right? And in this world, we can be more authentic. We can be more real with clients about the downside, about how we're going to protect and preserve capital, how we're going to navigate them through those bear markets.
The polar bear there.
We could talk to the polar bear there, but just be more realistic. And I think that's where your best outcomes come from, is not when you're in this blue sky, overly optimistic world and have your head in this pie in the sky view. Also not this totally negative hedge fund pessimistic type view. You see those guys on TV telling you the market's going to crash. Your best results come from being realistic, telling the truth, being authentic about what's going on in there in the markets, what's happening out there in the world. And we now have the freedom to do that and to manage portfolios accordingly that are going to navigate through any market environment.
So we've talked a lot about these three pillars: the portfolio, the planning, the relationship. So in this new world at Aretec, nothing's changing there, but really what we're trying to do is upgrade those three pillars.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to understand is with our move and the change that we've made for our investors, not a lot actually changes.
Right.
So your portfolio, the strategy you're invested in, that stays the same, right? So same tactical wealth portfolio, same way we've always invested. Your things like your wealth plan, your retirement plan, your financial plan, your cash flow, your income, all of that stays the same. And your advisor and your advisory team, myself, Greg, we're still here. Roman on our team, he's here as well. Courtney and Irene on the service and admin and operations side, they're here as well. So the advisory team, the relationship side for you as an investor stays the same. Your financial and wealth and retirement and income plan, that stays the same. And your investment portfolio, the investment strategy, how we manage money, that stays the same. Now, look, there's upgrades and enhancements we've made. The only thing that's changed is, we're operating as a new business, Aretec Wealth. We're working with Fidelity as our custodian and safekeeper of assets, but that's a pretty minor change for most investors. So the things that matter to you, your portfolio, your plan, your advisor, those are the core three things. That all stays the same.
Yeah, and I think that's an important distinction, because on the surface it may seem like everything's changed, it's completely different, but when you actually just go a layer beneath that, it's like, well, actually, not that much change.
No, there's not a lot that's changed. We're still the same people. We're still doing the same thing. We're investing in the same way. Of course, we wouldn't have done this just to do things identical to what we did before. So there are upgrades and enhancements and improvements we could talk about. But practically for you, if you're someone who doesn't like change and doesn't like things interrupted, which most people don't like, even, I don't like change even after this big change. Change for anyone is uncomfortable. We've done everything we can to keep, as much consistency in the new business as possible. We're not just, coming up with a new portfolio strategy and doing everything differently. So we've taken the best of the old world. We've taken that, we've brought it with us, and we're building, improving, enhancing it where it makes sense for investors. And there are a lot of upgrades and enhancements which we can get into as we go. But the things that have been working for you for years as an investor, we're continuing those on, and we don't want to disrupt what's been working.
Well, a question that I've gotten a lot from clients is, our process is not changing, right? The green light, the yellow light, the red light, like that's the cornerstone. Like that's a big reason why clients come to us for the way that we manage money. And that's not changing. That's only getting upgraded and improved.
Yeah, and that stays the same. So the tactical wealth portfolio, green light, yellow light, red light process, that stays the same. And that's our ability to manage risk, to navigate markets, to protect and preserve capital. Frankly, that's one of the reasons we have the polar bear as our logo, and we've got him back there all dressed up in Aretec gear. But yeah, that end of it stays the same, which is really important and critical. We've made some upgrades, some improvements, and frankly, our strategy is got some alternative investment characteristics. It's got some hedge fund type characteristics. It's really an institutional grade or institutional caliber strategy. And so in our new world at Aretec, we're better able to manage that, better able to navigate markets, better able to invest in this world. We have better research that's much more aligned with that thinking, and I think ultimately that leads to better results, better bottom line results for clients, better risk management, better upside. Just better outcomes and a better experience as an investor.
Yeah, and the one thing I just want to mention on that point, our tactical wealth portfolio, the green light, the yellow light, the red light, that is our portfolio. That's not something that was outsourced. That was our thinking. That was our portfolio. That was our trades. That was our process. It's not something that can be replicated because it's mine and Will's thinking.
Yeah, no one else out there is running that strategy. So I mean, frankly, for investors that stay with us, then we continue managing that strategy and continue managing for them. But there's no one out there who really does it like we do. Look, there's lots of different ways to invest. So certainly for clients who want a new way to invest, that's always an option. But most of our investors have loved how we've historically invested, how we navigated the markets, how we steered them through times like COVID, which is a pretty good story when it comes to that red light, yellow light, green light process. And so that all stays the same, and that tends to be the core of things. I think a really good financial and wealth and retirement plan is when you have an investment portfolio that's working and makes you money, and there's not a lot more to it than that.
But on the planning side, since you brought it up, there are going to be some improvements and enhancements there. We're not just doing what we were doing before. We're able to bring more to the table in terms of actually working and implementing the plan.
Oh yeah, so we have first off, I would say better tools and technology for our financial planning process when we're putting together deep, detailed strategic asset maps. We have way better software, which is through our partnerships at Aretec that we have access to. Better, when you have better software, better tools, better technology, to me that leads to better results, whether it's the planning side, the portfolio side, is a whole nother discussion. But we now have the ability to run really what's called a multi-family office, so we can still do detailed, in-depth planning for clients, with myself and Greg and our team, but we can also start to outsource some of that and partner very closely with, say, independent certified financial planners or CFPs, who are fiduciaries, who are really the gold standard of what independent financial planning is about. There's no agenda, there's no ulterior motive. These are third parties that we would work with and collaborate to put together a detailed financial and wealth and retirement plan for you. And it's something that I'd say has a $5,000 to $10,000 value, and we end up wrapping into the service and wrapping into the relationship that we have with clients. So that's part of it, and there's certainly more to it, right? There's the tax side, there's the estate planning, insurance, all those other elements. But it's something on that wealth management and wealth planning side. We've pretty much upgraded and improved all of that.
Yeah, and the strategic asset maps that I know we've talked about, and clients have asked us, well, is that changing? And it's like, well, no. That strategic asset map, again, that was our thinking, that was our tool that we created and built, and the idea now is to just upgrade that again.
Oh yeah, and so we're keeping doing those and just have better ability to do that with more software, better support, better teamwork when we're doing everything. So that's a real upgrade. So and I think that ability to go directly to source when it comes to accountants, when it comes to lawyers, when it comes to estate planning, when it comes to financial planning, I think is very valuable. And that's an idea through these podcasts, through these videos we're going to touch on, is what a real fiduciary is, what someone who's working for you and you alone and in your best interest is all about. And my view, right, in order to have the cleanest, the purest version of that, it's someone who's only working for you. You've independently hired. They have one objective, and that's to look out for you and your best interests and your money. And that's what we are in this new world. Is we are fiduciaries in that we work for you and you alone. There's no other agenda. There's no other motive. There's nothing else that's going on there. And it's a very clean model where we put the investor first. So your money, your portfolio, your bottom line comes first. The advisor comes second, right? Our interests and the business, Aretec really comes third in that. But it's all about you. You're the priority. And that's different from, I think, a lot of the business models that you see out there.
Yeah, and that's really the third pillar, right? So we talked about the portfolio, we talked about the plan, and then this is really that third pillar, the relationship that you have with your advisor, making sure there's no conflicts of interest and really acting as a true fiduciary and putting your needs first.
Yeah, and that's big, the relationship side, and I think that's what, frankly, is missing out there in the financial world is that really clean and really pure fiduciary model where advisors are out there working in clients' best interest with no hidden agendas, no hidden fees,
right.
Full disclosure, full transparency. And in this world, everything's upgraded, and one of those things is the standard that we work with clients. And I would say one of the things that we've said often is that we touched on this a little bit, that we now have a multi-family office. We're now a family business, but really we treat our clients like family, and that's the standard of care that we're holding ourselves to. And that means, you think of investing or working with a parent, a mom, dad, right, brother, sister. You're going to do what's absolutely in their best interest. There's no hidden agenda. There's no ulterior motive. There's none of that. It's just what's best for you and you alone. So I've said this many times: is we're now a family office, we're a family business, and our standard of care is we treat our clients like family, and we take that seriously. So that's one of the upgrades, I think, on the relationship side. I think the other big one has to do with some of the reporting and some of the technology. Right.
Yeah. So the one thing I actually just want to mention on that point, and I know we've talked about this before, but our portfolio, our strategy, that is exactly how my portfolio is managed, how Will's portfolio is managed, how our families. So, to your point about treating everyone like family, treating clients like family, the way we manage money, the way we interact, there's a high degree of consistency. We're not doing different things for different people, which I think, is a critical differentiating factor here.
Oh yeah, and that's what you see a lot of advisors out there. You ask them how they manage their personal money, right?
Right.
And it's very different from how they're managing clients' money, which doesn't make any sense to me. And there's lots of questions we could thread through, but that's one of them, right? How are your personal funds invested, and does it align? And that's a big commitment we've always had and continue to have here is we put our money where our mouth is, and you see that too in this business in terms of what we're doing and the level of belief we have in this, and in also how we invest money. And I think that's something that's missing in the industry. But I think one of the things too to talk to is I think when we talk about things like standard of care and transparency, I think reporting is a big one. And when it comes to your experience as an investor in this new world at Aretec, we have much better reporting, much more, I would say, clarity and transparency when it comes to things like what you own, what you hold, how it's allocated, things like performance numbers, which I think a lot of the industry is sorely lacking.
Yeah, well, the transparency is a big one. You can go online, you can see after every day, how the portfolio is done, how each account has done, how each position has done. So there's full disclosure and complete transparency, which is, I think, a big upgrade for investors.
Oh yeah, and we see that on our documents as well, which we've gotten a lot of questions about. But really, that's about laying it all out there. There's nothing that we're hiding. We're out there in the open, telling you the full unvarnished truth. But yeah, we've got very advanced, through our partnerships with Purpose and Digit, we have very, very advanced technology and reporting now. And yeah, that ripples through to your investor experience. But it also ripples through to what we have and what we're able to do as advisors. So I think as a portfolio manager, as an advisor, when we have better tools, better technology, we can produce better outcomes. And so you think when you have information that is just not clear, not transparent, when you have bad data, it's very, very hard to make good decisions that lead to good outcomes. And that goes for you as an investor. That goes for us as advisors. We have much better data. We have things like probability calculations, and we could see performance attribution, and we could run risk calculations, and it's things that we just could not do previously with more less sophisticated technology. And so when we have better tools, we have better technology, that leads to better outcomes, better results for you. It also leads to just a better experience with your money. And so when we talk about the advisor relationship operating as true independent fiduciaries and giving you more transparency, more clarity, better information, all that's huge in terms of improving your client experience. And that's why we say Aretec Wealth is a firm for Canadian families who don't want a good enough experience with their money, but an experience that's the best it can possibly be. So we're here working for you. We're here for you, your family, your friends, your colleagues, anyone that's important to you. We are here to help you realize your wealth. So this is the Realize Your Wealth podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with you next week.